Hello and welcome, everyone. It is so good to finally be here. Hi. Wow. How does anybody even start a new D&D campaign on a new channel anymore? I'll tell you what. Haven't done this in a minute. So, welcome to Girls Run These Worlds, everybody. I, Mo Cats, Mo, Mom, etc. I am very lucky to call myself Dungeon Mistress and Dungeon Mother of all cats, she's, theys, and fays this evening, as we take a deep dive into the world of Candlekeep mysteries. This is a 12-week limited series that will explore every corner of this realm and my players' brains here on Friday nights at 7 p.m. EST through September. And without further ado, I would love for everybody to introduce themselves. So, players, would you please give the audience your name, pronouns, and plug any other projects that you're working on? And I think I will start with Theta. Go ahead, buddy.
Hi, I'm Theta, they, them pronouns. Um, you can find me at Joe Butapaki on Twitter. And I also write games. You can find me there on Itch, writing games and doing weird things. You will also be able to find me some other places doing some other things, and I'm not sure I've gone to go ahead to say them, but check my Twitter. They'll be up soon.
Very good, buddy. Beth, what about you?
Hello, my name is Beth. My pronouns are they, them, and you can catch me about once a month-ish, if we can make it work, over at Indigo Chameleon. There I play a pirate rogue, so this is a very different role. Very excited.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. I will go ahead and let JJ go. We're gonna go down that side of the screen now. JJ, what are you up to, buddy? Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted?
Wait, okay, my bad. I was muted. Hi. Hi, everyone. JJ. You can follow me on Twitter at JJ_Cray, and I will be playing a halfling rogue today named Treble.
Awesome.
And I'm going to
Baba
get some
Yaga.
earphones.
Oh, yes. Great. Baba Yaga, you're next in line.
Yep, I'm Baba Yaga. I am a game designer and professional GM. You can find me on startplaying.games under Baba Yaga and on Twitter under Shut Up Sarah.
That's great. I would like to formally say that we have 3 Sarahs on stream. This has never happened before, but it's hilarious to me. Last but not least, Pipe Goblin, why don't you go ahead and go?
Hey everybody, I am Hype Goblin or Sarah. You can find me all over the internet as the Hype Goblin doing character cosplays, TTRPG coaching, and a whole lot of other things. I'm in a whole bunch of actual plays. If you're interested in seeing my schedule, it's pinned on my Twitter as well as in the link in my social media bio, so you can find me there. I'm all over the internet doing everything.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll just say for myself, I am the Thursday night DM for the Bobby on the Witchlight on Indigo Chameleon. So that's where you see me if you see me at all. And follow my Twitter, Mother O Cats with a Z. For tomorrow, I'm going to be on a channel stream for raising some money as a charity event tomorrow. So just keep an eye on my Twitter if you want to be a part of that. It's run by somebody from the channel, so good deal. Amazing. So as for Girls Run These Worlds, I just want to say we're currently running games like all week. So I'll just go ahead and plug the next show, which is our Claws of Cosvena campaign that's on Monday at 7:30 EST. That's going to be the next show after the weekend. So thank you all for supporting every FemDM on this channel and their wonderful casts of players. They all work very hard, and I'm very lucky to be a part of it. Alrighty, guys. Now for some deposition. Are we ready? Who's excited? Let's get it going here. Let me find my notes. All right. You have all heard the tales of vast and storied past of the Candlekeep Library. It is here that stories write themselves, adventurers become heroes in fairy tales, and the fairy tales are not always what they seem. Each of you has come here with a different set of baggage, and you should all feel free to write yourselves into this story how you see fit, as there are plenty of spaces among the books lining these shelves for you all to snugly fit in among the greats. The required entrance fee for admission to Candlekeep is a work of writing that hasn't already been collected. Those who show up at the gates without such a gift are kindly but firmly turned away. The enormous double gates of Candlekeep are 3 times the height of a human, and wrought of black metal magically warded to foil attempts to damage them. Both doors are emblazoned with a sigil of Candlekeep. One of the two gates stands open just far enough to admit any visitors during the day, and the other is kept shut. Those admitted to Candlekeep, referred to as seekers, that is all of you guys, can request the assistance of an avowed, who acts as a guide and research assistant for the duration of their visit. The guide has access to all of the resources of the library, with the exception of the vaults that contain the rarest and most dangerous works. One thing about this place, though, is your avowed often finds you. And with that, I will describe our scene. The five of you are finally walking up a long staircase that is surprisingly full. There are droves of other folks looking for admittance to the library, sure, but between the books that failed inspection that are surrounding your feet and those turned away trudging and dragging their feet to your left adjacent to the forward-moving crowd on the right, you all don't have a whole lot of room for failure, so you're just moving in a straight line going up this hill here. Just ahead of you are two men in long purple robes with golden adornments. Both men look to be ageless and without enthusiasm. The tall one to the left looks to the shorter one on the right of the gate with a lifeless grin as he turns away yet another eager adventurer, their book falling out of their hands in defeat. Finally, at long last, you've reached the end, guys. Books in hand, I would like everyone to describe just who we have here. So, going in the same order as we introduced yourselves, unless somebody wants to go first. I need your character name and pronouns, what they look like, and how the heck they are approaching the avowed, and how you're handing over your book, please. Do you want to go first, Theta? Are you cool with that? No? Do I have a volunteer?
I'll go first.
Right. Awesome, Hype Goblin. Go ahead, buddy. Who are you?
Tana Graceland Glimspark is a 3-foot-tall gnome. She has wild, unruly, brownish red hair, and she's actually probably on the taller side for a gnome. Gnomes normally don't hit the 3-foot mark. She's dressed in the colors of a sunset, a lot of reds, oranges, yellows, and adorned in jewelry that most people would probably consider to be expensive, but to her, it's just another trinket. She's trudging up in the line, trying to see over all of the heads in front of her, and holding tightly to a book that is carefully wrapped in leather, embossed with flowers and herbs on the front of it. And she uses she, her pronouns. Sorry.
Great, thank you. The shorter avowed nods sheepishly and extends a hand to you, as the taller one behind him bellows blandly, "What do you offer the great Candlekeep Library in return for your stay?"
Oh, hi. I have this book. Well, it's not really a book. It's more of like a manual. Well, it's not really a manual. It's also a piece of art. It's my mother's recipes, but I've also added all of her specific notes into it that she's given me over the years. And there's also some of my drawings in there. And a lot of them are very, very common recipes, but what she adds to them adds a lot of value. And I think a lot of people would be really interested. She's a very well-known baker. Her name's Ursula Glimspark. I don't know if you've mentioned her before, but here. And she shoves this book into their hands, and on each page is lovingly crafted a recipe. In one column, on the column next to it, is notes that have been given to Tana by her mother over the years as she's cooked with her in her bakery. And each page features filigree and... Sorry, my screen is flashing for some reason. Features filigree and the drawings of the items that are both in the recipe and herbs and flowers that Tana just enjoys.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard. This small halfling in front of you eagerly takes the book and starts wordlessly flipping through the pages, trying his absolute hardest to not have to lick his fingers so that he doesn't have to ruin the recipes. And he puts the book underneath his left arm, does some sign language to the taller avowed behind him, gives a nod of approval, and the larger man in back gives a nod, gestures for the smaller halfling to go ahead and hand you the book back, and you are ushered inside. Do you go?
Oh, thanks. Oh, if you do that cake recipe, make sure that you wrap the tin in a piece of cloth that's been soaked in cold water. It'll help it from doming at the top, and it'll also help the sides from drying out. Thank you. And she will head on in.
Perfect. Just before you can go, the halfling realizes he messed up, takes the book out from under his arm, taps you on the shoulder on his tippy toes and tries to hand it back to you as the bigger avowed in the back goes, "It's his first day. You're gonna need to give this to the front desk. Have a good day."
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Do I have a second volunteer? Baba Yaga. All right. Same thing. Small halfling eagerly sitting in front of you with his hands open in front of his chest.
So Baba Yaga is an Ergonazi who looks like a half-orc. So very, very tall, very muscular, has the tusks, and is a familiar sight probably for people who are at the doors. What's not so familiar, what's different, is she's been gone for a while, and she's her, and she's coming back looking like she just came back from festival. She's got horns now. There's plants growing out of her head. Her hair is crystal and like a big swoop up and back. And she just seems really just super chill. This is just great. And yeah, she has a leather bound, which looks obviously like a personal journal. And she just looks down at the halfling and goes, "Well, aren't you just the cutest little thing? I do have a new book here. I can, if it's okay, I'd like to read a portion of it out loud. I think it would be educating for you on your first day, if that's all right with you."
He nods and shrugs his shoulders.
But Christian, we can't, I gasped out, his breath hot in my ear. He smirked. I could feel it, the smug bastard, then gently nipped my neck. "Who's the alpha?" His hand slipped between my legs. "Christian, please!" He ground into me. I could feel him pulsating.
The halfling starts making crazy hand gestures like, "I think we're good," and he's angrily sign languaging, not knowing what to do to the avowed in the back. And the avowed in the back goes, "That will be enough. Unfortunately, I do think this will appear to a certain type of reader." And he gestures
No.
the halfling to go ahead and extend his hands. Regrettably, the halfling does so and takes the book from you, examines it, and hands it back, kind of hanging his head, realizing he might not be cut out for this like he thought he was. All right, you are ushered inside. Do you go? Cool, thanks. All right. Theta, you want to go next? You raising your hand?
Yeah, let's go.
Great, go ahead.
So approaching the door is what is very clearly an elf. Adara is kind of on the taller side, probably about 5'11" ish, which is not super tall for an elf, but it is of a respectable height amongst the general crowds of people. Their hair is this silvery blonde that almost seems to be frozen as it is, not necessarily moving, and it just kind of hits about their shoulder. Branches seem to almost be stuck in it, which don't seem quite alive, seem almost like dead sticks or twigs, but not quite twigs. And their face almost looks frosted over. It is very clear that they are an elf, and an Eladrin elf at that. But in comparison to the kind of high composure look of an Eladrin elf, they are wearing just these olive green, like overall, like clothing with this jacket that's bright, colorful, but a little bit worn. You can tell it's been through some years, and much of it is covered in some amount of dirt and stains. And out of one of their pockets, you think you maybe just see like a few mushrooms, like a few too many mushrooms. Honestly, any amount of mushrooms just being kept in dirt in a pocket is probably too many. And Adara definitely is keeping some in there. And as they approach the front door, they've got this journal in their hand. It's just leather bound. It's very clearly like a student's notebook, and they are kind of holding it with worrying their like fingers over the cover. And Faye says, "Hi, this is for the library. It's my writings, my research from when I was a student on both how to amplify and take away people's magic."
You see the gentleman in back, his eyes widen as he very hurriedly gestures for the halfling to take this book out of your hands.
I
He
think I
does
kind of,
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think Adara like holds on to a little bit, but then it's like, okay.
he inspects it and he lingers just a little bit too long at a couple of the pages. And you can tell this man is a warlock. He's very intrigued on how to take other people's magic away. And he closes it regrettably, hands it back to you. And the larger man in back goes, "Thank you for your sacrifice. You can go."
It wasn't a sacrifice. And Adara just steps in, kind of quietly hugging it to Fair chest.
All right. Well, and then there were two. Which one, guys? I'll let you pick. Do you wanna go, JJ? Your hand was up first. All right, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? We're trying to figure out, I'm having tech issues, but okay. So I will walk up and so Trouble is a Lightfoot halfling, and she has brown skin and long blonde hair that she keeps kind of a little bit out of her hood, playing as a rogue. And I'm gonna walk up to the halfling and be like, "What's up, cuz? How you doing?" Give him some dap, you know, and then be like, "All right, so this is my book here. This is a very important book to me, passed down through my generations from a distant cousin. Okay, and this title of this book is the Sticky Bun Chronicles. Okay, this is a family jewel right here. Okay, this book tells the story of the barbarian Kiana, very distant cousin, amazing. Have a poster of her in my bedroom, you know, the best. And this tells about the stories that she went, you know, the adventures of her life and whatnot, but most notably about her adventures, okay, with her band of all femme warriors. Okay, they did amazing things. They ate a lot of sticky buns. The Sticky Bun Chronicles. This right here is a masterpiece. Okay, but I'm gonna let y'all hold on to this because that's how generous my family is. You feel me? My mans. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, you see what I'm talking about.
Before he takes the book from you, he like goes to give you a fist bump. Excellent. He inspects your book. You see him lick his lips before he gives the book back to you after it's thoroughly passed inspection. He doesn't even make eye contact with the gentleman behind him. He tells you in sign language and kind of nods like you can go. He's making the decision this time.
I see my man's. I got you. You see, you got good taste. All right, let me walk up in here.
He does one of these.
Yeah, be like, I'm gonna slip you that sticky bun recipe later, my man's. I got you.
He taps like I already got it up here. All right, perfect. Last but not least, Beth, go ahead.
So Peace and Love is going to walk forward, more like a trot, a casual trot. See, P is a centaur and a peace cleric and is in no rush because, you know, we're just living the life that we're living. Pronouns, any and all. Gender, I hardly knew her, man. I'm just here. I'm not going to define myself by my corporeal form. So P carries this book forward and says, "This is why I'm here. You can lead a horse to enlightenment, how to find Zen and centaur yourself." This is by Vic Shunnell. It is so empowering. And I've decided that the only way to find all the pieces of myself is to find myself in all the pieces.
This very short halfling is looking up at this very tall centaur with this just wonderment. His eyes are the biggest they've ever been. And he kind of reaches up on his tiptoes to take your book, drops down onto the backs of his heels, eagerly flips through it, gives a satisfied nod, and hands it back to you. The gentleman behind him goes, "Your kind is few, but welcome."
I'm
And you're
so
ushered
happy to
inside.
hear it. Thank you.
Perfect. As the last of you five is ushered inside, you hear a much quieter, "Through the plaza, big building on the right, can't miss it." And you guys, as you're all entering the plaza, past the dark, beautiful big gates of Candlekeep, you see there's a small trickle of folks that have been let inside just ahead of you that are headed right for the library. He was right. You can't miss it. And immediately, once you guys are inside, 3 things stick out to you. 1, there are more books here than any of you have seen in all of your lifetimes combined times 1,000. You could spend days here, if not weeks here, and find a book without the help of an attendant, maybe. The ceilings are huge, tall, cathedral. There's a series of tables and chairs that house both stacks and stacks of books, and others who have come to enjoy the spoils of this cavernous place for the day for themselves. 2, there is a giant easel set up just inside the front doors that reads the following rules that appear to read themselves in your mind. "Oh, hey there, buds! Gertrude here to tell you the toot of the feud between the books and anyone who happens to be rude, okay? Please no food, unless provided. Flames larger than those lining our beautiful walls. I'm talking candles and torches here, people. Taking what isn't yours, or indulging in unmarked snacks that might be left unattended. I have high self-esteem, but devastatingly low blood sugar. It goes without saying that fighting or copying or damaging any work within the library may result in death or worse. The restriction of your library card. Well, if we had them. Enjoy!" 3, the voice you just heard was clearly coming from none other than the D&D Aunt Fanny of robots, Gertrude, the Candlekeep librarian, head of the Avowed, the keeper with a capital K of this establishment. She is behind the front desk. Her purple robe is wide open to make room for her wide hips and flailing arms as she thanks a few folks who are leaving for stopping by before taking a large bite out of a cookie from these nicely presented that are on a tray at the front desk. And it says, "Take 1 or 2, homemade with love. Not responsible if you gain a little weight, though." And she signed it at the bottom. And there's a sign in front. And with that, I would really love to know what all of your characters are doing as you enter the library. This is your time. I've talked enough.
P is going to trot over to the snacks because that sounds like it's probably delicious.
Yeah, as you get over there, there's like 10 to 15 chocolate chip cookies that look like they're still emanating a little bit of the heat from the oven right on the edge of the counter.
P's definitely going to eat one.
All right, it tastes like magic. It tastes divine. You've never tasted anything like it in your life.
I knew I'd find peace.
And love. That feels like being wrapped in a warm hug. Soren's gonna walk up to Gertrude. "Gertrude, do you know where Mutter and Myrtle is? I have a present for her from my last escapades."
Oh, she usually hangs out in the bathroom nowadays.
Oh no,
Nice
the
to
crones
meet you.
again?
Oh no, she's not any kind of trouble. She just prefers it there. I don't know why. It's like she watched a movie and got inspired or something. I'm not sure.
That's odd. Anyway, all right. Well, I guess I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay. You go in there, and your friend. This is a very nice bathroom. Like, we're talking 5-star hotel. There's like a lounge in here. She's not just hanging out in the toilet. This is like a place where the anybody in the library can come. It's a like gender neutral space right before you get to individualized stalls along the back wall. So anybody can hang out here if they don't really want to be on the floor where you can't talk in front of the books.
Good selfie lighting too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Soren gets out a very odd Fey, because it's from the Feywild, looking orchid, and hands it to her and says, "Myrtle, I've been thinking about you every day since I have left, and I found this, and I got a wizard to preserve it for you, so you always have a reminder of me and my affections for you."
Well, thank you, dear. I really, really appreciate that. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen you. You look real nice.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go on a family vacation, and I come back, and I got horns and trees growing out of my head, and my dad says hello, and yeah, so it was a trip. I'll tell you that. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get back to whatever you're doing, and go browse the library some.
Hey, listen. Next time you're in here, just give me a holler. I'll take you on a real good date.
Whew. Well, I never thought I'd live to see the day. Oh, after all these years, Myrtle, you still know how to make me speechless. And she's gonna turn and walk away.
She kind of mutters under her breath, I owe it to you. And she was just writing in her notebook. She'll resume doing that. You get back out, and there's a lot of people after seeing Peace and Love go ahead and take a couple of cookies. A lot more folks are now indulging in the cookies after coming in and hearing that message, like, please don't eat the snacks that are unattended. They're realizing these are definitely accounted for and it's okay to enjoy these. P, thank you for taking the brunt of the effort for everybody else in the library. There's been maybe 10, 15 folks in here. And they take cookies and go to their respective corners and chairs and re-pick up their novels. Is anybody else doing anything?
I think Adara, holding their book, will head towards the front desk with I've got a plan, I'm gonna execute it. That sort of energy.
Love the confidence.
I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk, I think Adara. So yeah, Adara just kind of walks towards it, yeah, I can do this. Is not feeling confident about going to talk to people at all.
Okay, how can I help you, dear? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry. First off, I'm Adara.
Oh, that's a darn pretty name, that is. I'm quite jealous, My mom named me after my great-great-great-grandma, and I'm never going to live it down. But, Gertrude does sound funny. It really does. It brings a little joy to everybody's face who says it out loud, so.
I think it's a nice name.
She blushes.
Okay. I was told to take this book to the front desk, so here you go. And I think Adara just slides across the journal.
Great. I will absolutely get this ready for processing ASAP, as they say. And she puts it in the stack to her left.
Means.
Oh, I get to do the fun job of cataloging everything up here, and unfortunately,
ASAP.
Oh, as soon as possible.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was wondering if you could help me find a book.
Well, perhaps. That is my specialty. What are you looking for? And she'll pull out a drawer and start flipping through a Rolodex.
I think the first question, out of character, would Adara have any concept of the restricted section?
the restricted section in the Candlekeep library is reserved for other members of the Avowed and people who have taken it upon themselves to have a member of the Avowed help them with something specific.
Like, but would Adara know it exists?
Oh, yeah, everybody knows it exists. It's
Okay.
kind of like in Harry Potter, it's like labeled. Like it's plain as day.
I think Adara then will go, I was hoping for access to the restricted section.
Oh, you got a project you're working on, eh?
Yes.
Pray tell.
I'm looking for my wife. I don't know how to find her. She's not on this plane anymore.
Oh, you think a book will help?
I think maybe that one of the books will have the answers. None of the regular books do. None of the books I remember reading back when I was in college. So, yes, I was hoping a book would do.
Okay, well, I mean, unfortunately, the tricky thing about the restricted section is you kind of need to know what you're looking for you to be able to find anything in there. It's not very well organized. I have nothing to do with it. And she points to her like extremely accurate alphabetical system for all of the other books that are in the library. Yeah, in the back that has nothing to do with me. I'm so sorry. Do you know like anything more specific as what you'd be looking for?
I think Adara's going to say no. Even though they do know, but...
Okay, I mean, if you change your mind, I mean, people in Candlekeep tend to find things awful easy while they're here. I have to say, it's absolutely wild to see the things that, people come up with completely out of the blue. Maybe the same thing will happen to you, bud.
Okay, thanks. Then have a good day. And I think Adara kind of just wander off, maybe heading off a little bit into the initial bit of the stacks to see if there's anything there that... Actually, no, I think Adara is going to start wandering around with more intent of seeing if there's a way to the restricted section almost.
Okay.
Yeah, not good idea, probably.
No, it's fine. I will say this. So at the library is very linear. You've got like the front desk. You've got maybe like off to one side the kids section. There's like a childish looking tree that's a bookshelf, and then on the other side you've got like a seating area with tables and chairs, and there's a place for refreshments on a table that are set out for everybody, and little snack trays and that kind of stuff. As you go forward and go deeper into the library, all of the shelves, there are a ton of them, but they all go straight back. You can see the back of the library. It is currently like blackness, but you can see in the candlelight, it goes probably a mile or so back, but you can tell that there's an end.
I guess. Ooh, that's far. That's far. I think Adara is gonna just... I think Adara will maybe find an Avowed and ask if they have any books on godhood. Then. Oh,
okay. Yeah, if you go over to pretty much any section that has anybody putting anything away, they'll show you right away to a bunch of books on godhood. Are you looking for any particular pantheon?
I think Adara is just wanting to read through as much of them as possible, see the stories and see what they have here on godhood.
Okay, yeah, you can absolutely browse that section. I love that for you, buddy. All right, wonderful. Anybody else doing anything?
Who's currently left out in the courtyard near Gertrude?
All right.
Okay. Probably running into both of you on her way to Gertrude, Tana is furiously scribbling in a notebook as she eats a cookie, sets it down on a floating disc next to her, and continues writing more in her notebook as she continues walking, trying to piece out what the recipe is for these cookies. And all of a sudden, Treble, she will crash directly into you. Hi, I am so sorry. My mother tells me not to write and walk, but it saves time. Hi, Is this the desk? Where am I?
I think you're in the courtyard. I think the desk is over there, with the nice lady who has the chocolate chips. How'd you get a cookie if you didn't go to the? Did you do a sneaky sneak? Did you do a sneaky sneak?
No, these are my cookies.
Those are your so who's?
You
I
didn't bring
heard
your own
something
food?
about cookies.
What? I mean, see, I have some food, but I just didn't know we were allowed to eat the food. I thought there was a rule against outside food coming in. I don't know. I'm new here. I'm
Oh,
just
there's a
trying
rule
to.
against that?
I mean, I think so. You should probably hide that. You might get in trouble.
I
Hannah,
don't think there's a rule. I think it's just they don't want you to be eating food and handling the rare materials at the same time. Get grease marks.
oh, that
I
is
don't
totally
really read the
understandable.
books here.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
True. Okay.
Just in case, Tana's going to open her bag, topple the disc over so the cookies fall in, and then dismiss her spell.
Well,
I need to. I have this book that I have to turn in. That's the desk, right?
Yeah, it's the nice lady with the accent.
All right,
She
lady.
has a large accent.
What's the difference between a large and a small
Just
accent?
I'm sorry. I'm distracted. Yeah,
Huh?
she's a very kind woman.
Okay, well, if she's as nice as you, I'm sure I'll get along fine with her. It was nice meeting you. Bye. And she will walk off at a hurried pace with her book in her hands, still writing down a note occasionally in her notebook that she's also carrying.
we'll be like, well, she's on a mission. I should probably go look and see what she's doing. Well, by the way, your horns, I like them. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a new thing. They've grown on me. But yeah, we should go talk to Gertrude and give our books and be assigned or whatever.
I think that's a good idea. After you, lovely horned one.
All right. I like you. You're all right. All right. And she puts a wiggle in her walk, and, like goes like the 5 feet in front, just so you're far enough away to get a good view.
And I was just walking along, like looking around, being like, ooh, they got some pretty things in here.
Great. All right. Who's approaching the front desk then? All three
it'll-
of you are?
Yeah, I think it'll be Tana first. She's probably already up there talking when they arrive.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Please go ahead. I tend to do that sometimes because I get really anxious and I just start talking and babbling. And please go ahead.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't have anything to say. I was just going to compliment you on your jacket. That's a beautiful color of yellow.
Oh, thank you. My father made it. I have this book. It's a recipe book, and they were told me that you would want this book, so I brought it to give to you because I wanted to come into the library, please.
Oh, I mean, absolutely, bud. No questions asked. I would love a few new recipes to add to my collection. It's funny. I was actually just writing down my recipe for the chocolate chips I got over there on the corner. Would you like a copy of it?
I would love one.
Perfect. And she takes a little rolled up scroll from her pocket and hands it to you and exchanges it for the book.
Oh, thank you. And Tana unfurls the scroll as she's talking to Gertrude and just starts sketching out a portrait of Gertrude onto the recipe so she can remember who gave it to her. Is there anywhere that I can go to find more recipes? I'm looking for things that are rather rare. See, that book is all of my mother's recipes, and she's a very accomplished baker and chef, and I would really like to get her something for her birthday that she doesn't already have, but she doesn't really like things other than recipes and food items, and she has all the recipe books that I can find in the rest of the world, and I thought that maybe here there might be something more rare.
Oh, you know what's funny? So I'm not allowed to let you take home the cookbooks, but over in our snack area, it's kind of a free-for-all over there. You know, people bring in cakes and muffins and all sorts of fun things. Somebody brought in a stew the other day, and it's just for everybody to share. And occasionally, in that little vase over there on the corner of the snack table, folks will leave the recipe to what they brought. It's great fun. If you want, I'm a scribe. I can go ahead and make you a copy of any of the recipes that you find, and I can put them in a little pamphlet for you.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go sample. Have a great time.
Tana will go and do just that.
Perfect. All right. JJ or Baba Yaga, you guys coming up too, you said? Are you just up like together?
I mean, like more or less. I think it doesn't like we're not holding hands or anything yet. Yes. Soren is gonna hand the book up on the shelf and be like, "This is called I Impregnated My Beta." I'll have some. I'm sure I can find some more chapters in that. It doesn't seem to be a complete story, but I'm sure there will be a continuation somewhere out in the world. Yeah, and this is my new little friend. Isn't she the cutest? Look at her, like. She's gonna rob somebody and look so adorable doing it.
Gertrude is just beside herself. She's doing that little old lady thing where she has sucked both of her lips into her mouth and is kind of like holding them there by her teeth. And then she goes, you know what, bud? I'm gonna. Are you okay with your book being in the restricted section? Is that okay with you? Because I don't want to go accepting it. I mean, it got you in because we don't have that one here. Yeah, but that's where it's gonna end up. You're more than welcome to come and visit it anytime.
I suppose I thought it would be in the romance section or something.
There's a romance section of the restriction section of the library, so you know,
and that works just fine. As long as it's properly. I want to make sure if anybody comes looking for that, they'll be able to find it.
Perfect. Okay. And I will say too, anybody who has been at the desk thus far, JJ, what's trouble leaving? What's your book again?
The Sticky Bun Chronicles.
That's right. Gertrude looks at everything that she has in front of her, these fresh 5 lovely looking novels. And she realizes that she has a little bit of extra time today. So if anybody would like for her to just copy these as a scribe and give them back to you in a few hours, you can keep onto a hold of the originals if you want to. I think that everybody knows that it is a great sacrifice to give something as personal as, say, I impregnated my beta to the Candlekeep library.
I would love for her to scribe that, make a copy of it, because that means she has to read every single word.
Sure does.
I'll just be like, Miss Gertrude, if you don't mind, I would also like a copy of that novel as well. And just be like super cutesy, like, thanks.
You know what, bud? For the absolute masterpiece in the making, the Cinnamon Bun Chronicles that you have bestowed upon me this fine day, I think I have it in me to make 2 copies. You got it, bud.
I'll be like,
Absolutely, let's do it.
I'll be like, Miss Gertrude, just because you're so generous, I'll tell you a little secret about this lovely book here. If you go to page 82, there's a little bit of the cinnamon bun, the sticky bun. There's a little bit of that icing on there. It's magical, so it doesn't go bad. You can just taste a little bit, Yeah. And don't worry, I heard these cookies are really good. And, because you're such a wonderful person, I'll just go ahead and slide you this sticky bun recipe. And then out of nowhere, I just have a piece of paper. I just slide real
secretly across the table.
You know, bud, I have nothing else to say to you but thanks. Thank you so much. Oh gosh. I love all of these. Gertrude, quickly, while you guys are perusing the library for a little while, everybody has something to look at. She does return a copy of everything that you gave her back to all of you. She doesn't ever emerge from back behind the front desk. She's a little bit too hefty for that. She kind of bangs around a little bit and shakes out the filing cabinets that are back there. So you don't forget she's there at any point in the library stay that you guys are there for a few hours. I will say this. Is anybody sitting at the tables or like doing anything specific in here? Because I will say if anybody wants to give me a perception check, depending on where you are, I might have something for you. Okay.
Yay! So we're both doing that. So both of us do.
Yeah, you can both do one.
Hell yeah.
Is it perception?
Perception, you betcha.
I've got a physical roll. Oh, that was a nat 20.
A nat 20.
First roll is a nat 20! So that's 25 total?
That's like the first roll of this baby campaign is a nat 20.
It's
That
all
just means we're gonna be
downhill!
unstoppable.
No, it's all downhill from here.
Oh no.
There's no way we're getting better. It is all downhill.
No. There's always
Baba
more
Yaga,
20s.
what'd you get? You said a 25?
I rolled it in whatchamacallit, in D&D Beyond. I'm trying to get it to work.
9 total for you.
Oh, 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
I rolled low. I didn't see what it rolled.
I will say this. I will go ahead and do Soaring first. Soaring, you see, looking around you, there are other people with familiars here. You feel very at home for the first time in a minute. There's a gentleman who has a bat hanging from a large hoop earring on his ear. And there's another gentleman that has a small, you think it's a displacer beast.
That's badass. That's just badass. But seeing the gentleman with the bat earring, Soren's gonna rub her earring and say, Alethea, what do they call it? Sadea, Alethea, come on out. And these spiritual crystalline blue foxes, one out of each earring rather, comes out and kind of formulates and starts playing like little asshole foxes.
The nice one goes, oh, this is great. And the other one goes, it's fine. I suppose this'll do.
Sadea, this is a brand new place and a new opportunity for us to learn things. You need to be more like your sister Alethea.
She's too optimistic. It's gonna get her in trouble one of these days.
No. Go hush and go find some mouse to kill or something.
Your foxes will mosey their way over to like the kids' corner and nestle up next to a small child reading a book. They're probably reading something woodsy and fairy tale-esque about pixies and fairy tale forest creatures, and they are just having the best time being read to by a child learning how to read. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. Okay, I will say this for you, Adara. You are over by the God section.
Yeah.
Your perception check, I'm going to say you remember as you were up at the front desk, I think you were a little bit too focused on pleasing the librarian, but if you look back just a few minutes in your memory, you realize she shoved with one of her feet a freshly dried and dead mushroom under the front desk.
A freshly dried.
And it looked like a dried mushroom that had seen better days.
Hmm. I don't have any dried mushrooms on me, so it's probably from here. Why was there a mushroom? That doesn't make sense. Do I think in my head, can I recall perhaps a type of mushroom that is like that one? Like if I recognize it or something.
You remember this one having feet.
It had feet.
It had feet.
Huh. I cannot think of any mushrooms with feet. I think Adara is going to take that thought, kind of put it in the back of Fairhead and go, that's weird. Not my business. Don't like that the mushroom had feet. And just go back to reading. Like, mushroom had feet. Not good. Okay. I have business.
Okay. So we've got Snack Cart. P, where'd you end up going after the front desk?
I ended up kind of wandering along, looking at the books, trailing fingertips along, seeing if any titles caught my eye or any books had a certain energy or pull to them.
Okay. Interesting. I will say, I think the person closest to her right now is going to be Tana. Tana, you are currently sampling things at the snack table, yes?
Uh-huh. And I'm taking notes, and I figured out some of the recipes, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Someone used a lot of garlic.
Before you know it, Gertrude has let herself out from behind the front desk, and she's kind of, slowly hobbled over to you, and she puts a hand on her shoulder, and she goes, "Oh, bud, real quick question. You guys all seem real nice and friendly in here. A lot of the folks come in here, and they're looking for answers by themselves, but you guys seem like you could play nice. Would you agree?"
What? What, me? What?
Yeah, you and the four others that all came in with you.
Oh, the people that came behind. I mean, I try to avoid picking fights, if that's what you mean.
No, I mean, like, I think that you guys would make a good team. And she kind of, like, squeezes your shoulder a little bit, and there's, like, a pleading look in her eyes. Like, she probably shouldn't tell anybody about this, but she's gonna.
Is there something that you need? Others usually don't want to work with me, but I mean, I'm happy to help out wherever I can.
So here's what's going on. I think that the one over there that's looking at the godly texts, I think that they might have noticed that I was hiding a few things. We've had a little bit of an infestation here at the Candlekeep Library, and there just so happened to be a small race of sentient mushrooms that are getting in through the vents. And I was just wondering if maybe you folks could help me get them out. Does that sound something like you might be interested in doing? Just while you're here, I'll pay you in. I'll let somebody go to the restricted section. It'll be great fun. I swear.
Will you copy down any recipe that I want?
Oh, absolutely. You got it. I'll write down 2.
Okay, then I'm in.
Great. Okay. Perhaps if you might want to go tell the other folks what's going on, and you notice she has like a shifty look in her eyes, like she is the head of this library, and she has just asked for help from somebody when there are level 20 avoweds around. Like nobody wants anything to do with what is going on.
Don't worry. That's the same look my father gives me when my mother makes cabbage stew. I'll collect the others. It's fine. It's fine. Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Does anybody want to do anything else before you are rounded up? I guess, unless anybody doesn't want to be rounded up, you don't have to be.
I'm immediately rounded up.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long. It doesn't take much to convince me. We're taking out some mushrooms, some sentient mushrooms. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it.
Great. Okay. So I would like to think you all are kind of, Gertrude is back behind the front desk, and you all are in a semicircle sitting around her. Everybody can have a cookie. She's brought out a fresh batch. Um, and she starts writing down what she's saying to form a record of it and speaking out loud to you all. Okay, so here's the situation. There's some sort of power growing here, right? I noticed the first time a mushroom came in here, this was not an ordinary mushroom. It's like they're a hive mind situation. Like an ant finds a piece of grass that it particularly likes, and all the other ants just know exactly where to go. These things have the exact same mindset. And some of them have started eating some of the pages of the books that are in here. It's like they want to eradicate the library. I had to close down an entire section the other day. And she's getting increasingly kind of, you can tell the anxiety is getting to her hands. They begin to shake. I gotta tell you what, it is scaring the Avowed more than a popsicle cart parked outside on Reading with the Youngins night. The poor pages.
Soren's gonna pat her hand, be like, "Oh, bless your dear heart, sweetie. It's okay. It's okay. We'll sort this out. It's just some mushrooms."
Right, it's just that everybody's been so busy lately. We've had quite the influx of folks coming to the library, and I don't mean to ask you regular folk. I mean, you're not regular folk. You're extraordinary folk with extraordinary books that you've brought me this day. Thank you again. And all of a sudden, as you guys are in a semicircle around the front desk, before you can ask her anything else, Gertrude's eyes and ears seem to stick out of her head a little bit more than she should. Like something has like blown up a balloon inside of her skull, and she goes back to normal. And she stands at attention before her feet practically leap off of the floor to jump over to get to everybody. I need everybody to go ahead and make me a wisdom save as you all start to hear humming in your ears.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Tanner rolled a 15.
A 15. Okay.
I rolled a 19 total.
All right.
Soren with a 14.
Treble has a 9.
All right.
P got an 8.
All right. Wow. All right. And that's everybody, right? We only had Tana. You were the only one who's safe from this. Everyone else, all of the sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, you hear almost like a seance begin in the back of your mind. And I'm going to send everybody the song lyrics. I'll go ahead and post them in Twitch chat too. It's not the greatest, but that way everybody can see them. So here's your lyrics. Perfect. And I will say I'm just gonna do the chorus, but the entire song is the is the following tune. It is the da 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 da. So the chorus goes, does the shadow have a name? Shemshine. Causes grief, avoids the blame. Shemshine. And the entire song starts to repeat and repeat and repeat in all of your heads. All of the lyrics seem to take over every thought that you have for a moment. As your eyes glaze over, before Gertrude can give everybody a snap in the face, leap over the front of the countertop, and look over at the far wall, and you guys see all of the sudden it is a struggle for her, but one of the bookshelves begins to quiver and shake and part from the wall as a door opens on the side of the library, and she starts to usher you forward. Okay, everybody needs to leave. I don't need to alarm anybody, but you just need to go. And she loses the ability to speak. You see her eyes also glaze over for a moment. There are blue cobblestones leading towards a building across the plaza. If you guys want to try to leave,
I'm sorry. What just happened? Are you?
Why did the door open?
What the hell is that song ringing in my ears?
Who's Shine?
What song?
Did you not hear
It
this? There was a song.
Yeah, it's Shemshine.
Miss Gertrude was talking, and then you all looked like you got very, very bored, and I was still taking notes. What? I didn't hear him.
No,
Is there a
it
bar?
was-
Something
No,
going on. There's, I guess somebody can speak into our heads. Is it the mushrooms? Mushrooms can't do that. Is it mycelium?
Spores.
Spores aren't. I could see it being mycelium.
If it's mushrooms and she had a mushroom underneath her desk and now she's acting weird, there's all kinds of weird stuff in nature, and
The song's kind of catchy.
Maybe it's just a prank, and they're just a bunch of fun guys.
it could just be a bunch of fun guys with fun guys.
everybody.
I don't think so.
Everybody except for Tana, go ahead and give me a con save while you're still standing in the middle of the library.
Ooh, that's mean.
19.
19.
6.
I'm seeing if I have anything for these. No, I don't. I have a 5.
All right.
Mine is a 2.
So
So there you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He rolled so bad.
Everybody who got less than a 10, which is 3 out of the 4 of you, you guys take 5 psychic damage. As this in your head now sounds like a megaphone. It's almost like the walls of the library are amplifying the sound between your ears.
Oh, okay.
Wait, 6 psychic damage?
5.
I'm just gonna say, well, this has been fun, but now this is starting to get annoying, and I'm gonna go and dig into my bag and take out my potion. I have a potion of psychic resistance. Can I use that?
Yeah, you can use that.
I'm gonna just be like, bottoms up.
Okay.
If I can, I think getting that psychic damage, Adara is going to immediately just try to cast Armor of Shadows, just like a mage armor, to just be like, little bit of protection. I'm squishy. I want to die. Something's already tried to attack me. I don't like that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Is anybody else doing anything?
Soren's been sitting there drumming on the back of her head, like you're supposed to do when you get tinnitus. By the way, folks, you get tinnitus, drum on the back of your ears. It helps.
Mhm.
But so doing that, and then I guess going out, like going wherever we were being ushered to by Gertrude, because I don't want to mess with that. That's everybody looks like they have migraines except for Tana, but she's too busy not paying attention or paying too much attention to. I don't know.
Tana is still trying to understand what's happening, but she will follow the others if they decide to head towards the door.
Tana, you are the only one who clearly sees Gertrude is trying to get everybody except for you 5 out of the library. And she is struggling hard. It is like she is fighting with something in her head. And Gertrude will yell with the last little bit of anything she has to give you guys. Okay, please just get to the basement. I'll try to meet with you guys shortly. And you see she gulps. And she fights with her thoughts one last time as the bookshelf shakes and rumbles and shuts behind you guys. Are you following the blue cobblestones leading across the plaza?
I'll go where Gertrude sends me, I guess.
Mhm. Same.
Okay. You guys blindly follow this kind old woman that you are pretty sure is trustworthy, that you just met today, across the road and into the cobblestones lead you to the House of Rest. It's right across the street, but it doesn't lead into the front door. It leads around the side of the building, and you are led to the door to a cellar. It's almost like a hatch. And it has a firefly on the door.
Is there a visible lock or any sort of mechanism?
No, in fact, it looks cracked open.
Well, shoot.
Do you want
If
to
nobody's
try
going to
the
stop me,
door?
I'm just going to open it.
I will say just before you do that, I'm not very good at always being perceptive of my surroundings, but I am good at providing guidance if you'd be interested. And P reaches over and touches their arm and gives guidance, which adds a D4 to an ability check.
There you go. Heck of a buff.
Guidance is pretty cool.
Alright. Let's do this. I'm going to send you guys where you are for the Firefly Cellar. Perfect. Okay. So, this is the Firefly Cellar. When you guys are all within the door, you realize it is very, very dark in here. But the kind of dark, the Candlekeep library was lit by candlelight and torches. In here, it is lit up by fireflies. There are thousands of them in here. Honestly, you feel like you might accidentally breathe a few in as you all start to usher yourselves down the couple of steps. And all of a sudden, you hear a voice coming from inside the darkness. Ebder, are you back? I never left. Oh? The elf comes out of the shadows and looks down from her ladder that she sits atop on by a bookshelf on the wall. She seems surprised at all of you guys being here. And she says, indicating the room around here, "Ah, visitors, glad to see some of you made it out okay. I'm Scribe Varner. Sorry for the state of things. As you can see, the restoration process is a work in progress. I'll be with you shortly.
What do you... Can I ask what you mean by restoration process, and what do you mean made it out okay? The others seemed fine. Also, hi. Just hi.
We were just sent down. We really have no idea what's going on while we're here.
Are the others unsafe?
Oh, I mean, you're not the first ones to come down here. I'll tell you that. There are a few other avowed downstairs. I was just talking to one of
We're
them.
not avowed.
Oh, no, but you're affected, correct? You have the voices, I hear.
What?
This is a small library. Word travels faster than you think. Oh.
What do you mean affected? And what do you mean once more made it out safe?
Two things, and she looks at Tana. Do you not hear it?
No, I totally hear it. I'm definitely just like these fine folks here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case, she looks to the rest of you. You all might want to stay away from her for the time being. This affliction tends to catch.
So we have the cooties. Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean by affliction? And what symptoms does it have? Will it kill us?
She smirks. And she looks at you, Adara. Your questions will be answered very shortly. I'm very busy. Would you mind bringing that stack of books downstairs to Ebder? I mean, I'll meet you there. And she points to a small pile of books that are on a stool, like right next to her, and just kind of brushing you off goes, "Thanks so much."
Can I vibe check her with an insight check?
Sure.
And thanks to my ring of truth telling, I get advantage on that. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to determine the true intentions of this person. Are they?
Yeah. Would you get? Did you roll like insight?
Yes, it was an 18.
18. Okay. Awesome. I'll tell you what, Tana, you are not affected by this. You have a moment of mental clarity. She knows exactly what is going on, and she is not telling you.
So do you normally talk in half-truths to people or just send them off with misinformation? Because that's not really a good thing to do. It often leads to, bad things happening.
She laughs. And you guys can, how many of you have dark vision?
I do out to 120 feet.
Wow.
I have like 60 feet, I think.
Yeah, I guess it's easier to say who doesn't have dark vision.
I honestly don't know. I gotta look.
Wait, so I did have a quick question. Just really
Yeah.
quick. Okay, so I took the potion of psychic resistance. So can I still hear the voices and just not take damage? Like I'm still gonna take the 5 that we took when we were originally affected. So can I still hear the voices or no?
I will tell you, you all do still hear the
Okay. The singing.
the light rumblings of music
Okay.
notes in the back of your brain, but you feel fine here. You feel surprisingly safe here in this basement. There is not the amplification of sound that you guys received when you were in the library at all.
Okay, cool.
Yep, for now, that is what is happening. Great. So, you guys who do have dark vision, you see that Varner has just gone exactly back to what she's doing. She is ignoring further questioning, and she is continuing with the restoration project. You guys can gather, if anybody wants to give me like an investigation check, there is a lot of like blueprints and pieces of paper kind of strewn about on this top floor of this basement.
I got a 9.
A 9. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Tana also rolled a 9.
7.
2 9s and a 7.
I got a 12.
All right. Man, Theta, that nat 20 in the beginning really did us in, didn't it? That's really wowza. Theta, you're muted, I think.
I said it's always downhill when you begin with a 20. Like you never stay consistent. You have to go down. There's no other option.
Great.
It's just the way the universe balances out.
Yeah,
Way too
essentially.
I also was trying to read your lips. Did you see you got a 10?
I got a 9.
9. Okay, we got a bunch of 9s and
Yeah.
the 12. Who got the 12? All right, JJ, thank you. All right, Treble, you look over at a blueprint and you can tell the restoration project isn't just down here. This is all over this side of Candlekeep. So like the library, the House of Rest, a couple of other buildings that you don't recognize. And it looks like they're just trying to make basic like building improvements to make this a cool place to be for people visiting from other planes. Unfortunately, stone does deteriorate, so they're just trying to make it look nicer. You can tell where you are specifically on this top floor of this very deep basement. You can tell it has 3 levels. You're looking around and everything's in disrepair up here. There are books off of shelves. There are cleaning products and half-dirtied buckets all over the floor. I mean, with the 12, you notice just very basic stuff lying around. Like, she has probably been at this for a while, but she's kind of half-assing it. Like, she's not really doing the best she could. Just like she won't give you guys very much information, she's not doing a very good job for an avowed.
Okay, so I'm gonna be like, well, friends, it looks like this entire, I think the restoration that you was talking about is happening all throughout this part of Candlekeep. Like, it's not just the library, it's pretty much everywhere. It's major restoration. But yeah, I don't like her. She's like very she's doing the bare minimum. Is this how the other avowed are? Is this why this mushroom situation got out of control that Gertrude wants us to handle? Or like what's happening here?
She does seem to be kind of dismissive, or she does seem to be kind of dismissive and not very cordial at all. She didn't ask us who our names, what anything. She's just like, "Oh, you're here because you hear voices."
I mean, I totally agree with you. I just feel like she's very I agree, very dismissive, rude. Yes, I don't I think she's just here she's just here to get paid. I mean, she's not trying to do nothing here. I mean I can respect that as a thief to a certain degree because you got to get your money. You know, I get that, but the lack of work ethic is just appalling.
Are we still within earshot of this NPC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she could definitely hear everything I said. I think we on our own, y'all. I don't think she cares. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously doesn't give 2 shits in a hot saloon about it. I don't know what that saying is, but now 2 shits in a hot saloon is a thing about anything other than just keeping appearances.
Barely.
Tana will go down the party one by one using message so that this NPC can't hear her. And the message to each party member is, she's not telling us something. Maybe we should move away from her. She knows more than she's letting on. And she's not very good at hiding it.
I think could interrogate her.
And then as you say that,
that's my message response.
As you say that, I like take out a dagger. Like, okay.
Tana just looks at Soaring and the eyebrows just go up.
I think Adara will respond in the message, but also kind of, I think Adara will say out loud, how about we just head downstairs? And then message back to Tana, do you have any spells to read minds? While turning to go downstairs.
Uses message again. No, but I could light this whole place on fire with a fireball.
Unfortunately, not what we're looking for.
I will just speak up and be like, well, I mean, I do have another potion for mind reading, you know, if you want me to take that and see if I can read anything. But I mean, I don't know. I really don't think she pays attention enough to really like, really know what's going on. I think with her, it might just go one ear right out the other.
Are the avowed are they magic users? Do we know, DM?
You see, If you want to give me like a you didn't insight checked her. Yes. And you see she actually has like a cane at her side.
Tana will send a message to Treble. Maybe save that for later. Magic users can ward themselves against that sort of stuff.
Oh, really? Dang. All right. Well, I didn't think it was going to help anyways. You know, it's not. She's not much. I think well, whatever we do, she's not going to be no help. I mean, I think we should probably just move it on. You know, she's not. First of all, she's not going to meet us downstairs. But once we get downstairs with these books, let's just. I think we all on the same page.
Adara is definitely not making any move to pick up the books if even if no one else isn't. And I think we'll just be like, let's continue this discussion downstairs. I think I want to first get an idea of what we're dealing with.
I'll take some books downstairs. I don't mind. Not for the lady who's being a jerk, but just for the library in general to help out.
Oh, are they heavy?
I mean, it's a stack of books. Yeah, no, not for maybe.
Tana will cast, move her hands and cast a spell, and a silver disc will appear in front of you. You can fit up to 500 pounds on that. It'll just follow me.
Oh hell! And yeah, so make a pallet of books. It's very back warehouse room of a grocery store, assembling the books onto the disc.
Trevor's gonna take like one of the books and just like spitefully take it off of the thing and just leave it there so that this rude woman will still have to at some point or another take this book down.
Adara makes no move to help out in this case. Adara's like, I am nice, but I'm petty, so not gonna do anything.
Petty
nice,
gang.
Yeah, no, Adara's like, I'm nice, but I am a little petty, so I'm just not gonna. You're rude. I also know things, so you don't need to be a dick about it. And just, follow behind.
All right, awesome. So you guys, head deeper. I will say to get to her, you kind of have to do like a 360. This staircase goes straight down. You guys get down to the stacks. This is a musty, dirty. There are old books everywhere down here. There are rings of bookcases that just dominate this space. And there's a heavy granite table right in the center of the space. The table would be a circle, but it has 6 semicircular gaps cut into it around the edge, creating spaces for 6 chairs. So like the Knights of the Round Table, if they actually like had engineering degrees, designed this. Small stacks of books rest on the table along with a candle holder that contains firefly-filled jars. And are we just like, are we setting the books down? Are we like...
If there's like an empty bookshelf, I without like actually organizing the books, I would take the time to put them on the shelf, but just not organized whatsoever. But if there's not any space that looks like it's a designated area, then they just go on the floor.
Perfect. As you move forward into the room a little bit, you see on the other side of the table is a gentleman, and he definitely does not look happy to see you guys. There is a shrill sound that just tears through the Firefly cellar, overpowering all other noise real quick. Though it rapidly rises to an uncanny pitch, you recognize Ebner's voice. the gentleman that Varner just told you about. Would y'all quiet the heck down? I just put my daughter to bed.
I'm sorry, sir.
Excuse me? You have a daughter and you keep her here in the cellar?
Oh, well, it's safe down here. Didn't Varner tell you anything? She ain't telling nobody shit anymore, man. What?
We asked. Yes, we asked her multiple times and she refused to answer.
Well, she seems to be the only one of us who isn't affected by this darn thing anyway, so it's fine. I guess it's fine. And he kind of puts his head in his hands, and he will just start humming to himself for a moment. And I think I would like to take our break here. Everybody else in a good spot for a break?
Hell yeah.
All right. Awesome. We're going to take a little bit of a break, chat. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to Candlekeep MISSteries, MISSteries. Yep, I spelled that right. Good for me. Before the break, we heard a little bit more about what's going on in our characters' heads. Everybody has been hearing mysterious humming kind of in the back of their brains. And now, the gentleman, Edgar, right in front of them in this giant stone table in the middle of the floor with several crescents cut around the sides, making way for several chairs, has also started to hum. And you guys hear as a bunch of things happen all at once. You hear in the distance a door slam as a small girl toddles out of the darkness off of one of the sides of this table and takes a seat. You hear above you the hatch slam that you came down here from the upper floor as Varner walks down the steps and also takes a seat at the table. You hear a third door slam. From behind you, a little old lady with a large basket of muffins emerges from the darkness behind all of you and also takes a seat at the table. The older lady looks at you all and goes, "Oh, I see you've met the crew. We're doing just fine down here. Thank you for asking." And the little girl is kind of elbowing her, like, she didn't ask anything. She didn't ask anything, Crinkle, but you know, it's fine. Yeah, we're all doing great down here. And she looks kind of
Like to
defeated.
insight.
Yeah, same. Honestly, these people do not look okay.
I don't know if they're innocent and I'm paranoid, or if they're demons waiting in human form.
I think that they're innocent. I just don't think they're okay. How long have they
Anybody
been
who
in
wants to
the...
insight check, tell me who you're insight checking. Anybody who wants to do that.
I'm gonna insight check Crinkle with the Wrinkle and see what's good.
All right, good.
I'm gonna
I'm
check.
gonna look after the little girl because I'm suspicious of a child who's supposed to be I'm suspicious
Same.
of any child.
Honestly,
I've seen Men in Black.
I'm going for the baby.
All right.
Yeah, same.
So three
I
of
rolled
you
an
after... 8. So do we want to do Theta Baba Yaga and Hype Goblin after the girl, and then like Beth and JJ, you guys want to go after Crinkle Wrinkle? Is that what we want to do? No, that's what I'm gonna call her for the rest of the campaign. I can't help it. It's good.
Crinkle
with the
Wrinkle.
wrinkles, you know, Crinkle Wrinkle, what's good?
All right, shoot off some numbers to me.
Crinkle Wrinkle's gonna turn out to be like only 20 years old and just disguise self after you like.
She just
me
needs
saying this now means that it's been put in the DM's head, I realize. And that is on me, so I apologize to everyone else for us being one-shotted by Crinkle in the future.
Crinkle with the wrinkle. Need some moisturizer, that's what it is. Be like, girl, I got you a
Oh,
gift.
that's so mean.
And she's 20. And she's 20 and she's got wrinkles like that. Go moisturize.
She is
Oh no, I'm
handing out
myself.
Anybody who insight checked Crinkle, what are your numbers?
20.
Mine is 8.
20 and 8. Okay. P, this is the sweetest little old lady you've ever seen. She has come bringing wisdom and snacks, and she looks like she is sitting on the edge of her seat. She looks like she wants to spill some tea.
I reach over and say, "My, those look really good. Would you mind if I tried one?"
Oh, absolutely. They're cinnamon raisin. And she like hands you one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everybody with the younger girl. What did we get?
I got a 15.
I got an 18.
18 as well.
She looks like she is definitely mischievous, but she is purely concerned with making sure her dad is okay. You immediately recognize the father-daughter relationship between Ebder and this young girl. You don't know her name, but she is actively trying to wake him up out of this trance. As she does so, all of you feel inclined to sit at the table with these people, as I need everybody to give me a wisdom save. As you're inclined to sit at the table, you don't have to, but you feel like you need to sit down.
Mhm. Is this charm?
It is not.
Okay. 'Cause I feel like
22 for Tana.
22, okay.
18 for P.
18 for P.
A nat 1.
Oh no.
No matter what I have, I'm failing. It's a nat
It's-
1.
It's an 18 for trouble.
Okay. Great. All right. Good. You said an 18 for trouble? Okay. Cool. And Tana, you got a 19 again?
22.
22. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody go in a circle one more time. I feel like I got somebody wrong. I got Tana 20 something, which is fine. Treble. Are you muted? Sorry.
18, sorry. 18.
Okay. Perfect. All right. P, yours was a what?
18.
8. Oh, yeah, yours was the 18. Okay. And then soaring.
21.
21. Okay. And Adara.
Nat 1. So a total of 6.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Strangely enough, Tana, you are still fine. And I will say, now, Soaring, you still hear the voice in your head, but it is reasonably less than it was before. Everybody else go ahead and give me a con save, except for those two. Rolling dice, taking names.
19 trouble.
Wow, okay.
4.
4. Adara.
7.
7. Okay. Adara and P, you guys are both going to take 2 psychic damage.
I'm mostly annoyed because this is just killing my arcane ward.
It's a headache. Like, it's just, you gotta
Yeah,
really
I just have a really bad headache. It's not even affecting my actual HP. I'm just annoyed.
All right. And with that, as you all come out of it for a moment, Varner sighs and holds her head down as you see she gulps and tries really hard not to be horrible to you all again as she raises her head. You know, when I first arrived in Candlekeep, before I became an avowed, this was just a few weeks ago. I'm fairly new, if you all hadn't noticed. Everybody was concerned when I got here about this singing madness. You know, like what we hear in our heads right now, I guess. There was this book merchant that had been afflicted with it, and he was put in isolation. And then a lot of other people started getting the humming in their heads. And she pauses and frowns. I don't know what happened to him or the others. That was a long time ago. She raises her head and looks over at Crinkle and looks at the rest of you. She knows more than I do. So, I just need everybody to know that, like, Gertrude told me, so all of the Avowed know about this. They're trying their best, but unless we have the book, it's not really... And then Crinkle looks up at hearing the mention of the book. Oh! The book! Right. I won't lie to anyone here. I might have taken it from the library when it was getting its binding redone. And unfortunately, the thing is wonderful. It has a music box built in, it's quite lovely to fall asleep to at night, I have to say. But unfortunately, when I opened it, I got this voice in my head, and the pictures were so pretty. Let me tell you what. And the little girl nudges her like, stay on track, please. You got it. You can do this. Power through. Right. So I think that I kind of reset this. It happened about 600 years ago, and they stopped it with the book. But then I got curious, and I thought the magic would have been gone, so we're having the same plague twice. And she kind of winces and looks at everybody. I'm so sorry to welcome you to our humble library this way. I mean, a quarantine is no way to welcome new people here. This is the Firefly Cellar, named for the light the fireflies provide, that we may remain to breathe by not sucking away our limited oxygen with flame. And she bows to a few of the fireflies. This is a curse kind of a situation. I'll tell you that. And then she gets this kind of whimsy to her eyes as she looks around the table at everybody new that she has to work with. I have to say, I'm not usually one to be forthcoming with this information just to anyone, so I'll make you a deal. Solve my riddle, and I'll tell you more about the book.
I want to insight this lady again. Actually, I did the girl the first time, but like I don't. She's like a witch, and I'm cool with that. I just want to verify that.
A witch?
I'm wondering why. Just why?
So you
'Cause,
open.
you know, you got to repeat. You got to do everything twice. Don't do everything once. Do everything twice. 600 years apart. Was she old then? Has she been old this whole time?
Or did she just read about it? Like, have I heard about this dancing, this singing
The way she
play?
said it might have been a little bit confusing, but this was a plague of sorts. It didn't affect enough people that it was infamous, but Theta, I will actually say both wizards, probably in your history lessons, did learn about the people who were tricked into like humming themselves to death. Yeah. And it was resolved, and now it's back.
Okay.
So
Cool.
So the
Crinkle.
insight check. Yeah. Who was doing the insight check?
Let's just see if this thing is a 9. If it's like an immortal being or just really long lived. If she's been old this whole 600 years.
All right.
I think she's been old this whole 600 years. She's always been the same age, unless she really hasn't.
So here's the deal. With your insight check, here is what you know. You see, as she's handing out muffins, it was dark enough in here. She has been keeping her head down. This woman is a Kenku. As she removes her hood and looks up at everybody, you see the glint in her eyes is not human. She has the face of a crow, but her beak is like broken off so that it wouldn't show outside of her hood. It's like broken right in the center. You can almost like see into her throat. Her face is worn and gray, and you don't know how old she is. You're not really that familiar with Kenkus and their life expectancy or that of whatever the heck kind of a class she is, what her powers are, but she seems ancient. But she also seems truthful.
Would we know that?
She's a witch.
Would we know that Kenku imitate voices in order to speak? So she's not necessarily that old. Okay.
Sure.
But she's physically like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Are
Okay.
Kenku crow or raven?
She is
Are
a
they
crow.
crow folk or okay? Because I have the raven. Never. I'm not gonna be like, oh hey, look, you look like my pet.
Yep.
So you said we can almost like see into her beak, her broken into her throat.
Yeah.
Okay. Treble will politely ask her to put that hood back on. Crinkle, can you please can we can all of us, the whole group could just put our hoodies back on and we could be the hoodie gang for a little bit.
I don't have a hood.
Neither do I. I have a hat.
It's okay. It's okay. Y'all
Hats
don't
were the same thing.
anybody who has a hood can just put it on. It's okay.
I'm gonna hand Adara a hat.
But I was gonna look at it and kind of just hand it back. I think because I was like, I have sticks in my head. This is not gonna work out. I'm not taking the sticks out. They're fine. The hat's the problem.
I
You
put
guys-
it's a friggin' skull cap, like a knitted hat, and I put it on over the horns and the shit that's growing out of my head. So like the hat doesn't actually reach my head; it gets stuck like on the horns part of the way down.
It's
But I'm trying. I gotta try for you, girl. I got your back.
Thank you. And be like, okay, once you put that hood on, can you go ahead and give us this riddle that we're supposed to solve? Because you done unleashed the whole curse, and now we have to figure out what it is, how to fix it.
I only offer a riddle because, unfortunately, the last time this happened, 600 years ago, the folks who tried to fix it weren't the brightest, and it ended up getting a whole lot worse before it got a whole lot better. So I would just like to make sure, for my own, granny peace of mind, that we're working with folks smarter than those people.
And you could swear, even through the hood, even though she has a beak, she is doing the equivalent of like sneering ear to ear. But yeah, she will slide a piece of paper towards you guys. And I will say this. There we go. All right. Perfect. So, here is what happens. This is fun because she is not going to really like talk to you during this. You see she puts her wings, now that you know she has those, with her talons at the end kind of crossed over her chest. And the note reads, "Owl bears come in pairs. They sit around stumps in the ground like petals on a flower. How many bears are out today?" And you see she places 2 die that have the dots on them onto the table. They are 2 4s.
Can we get the riddle written down by any chance?
Yeah, I can send it to you guys in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Let me just copy and paste. Love that. Copy.
Owl bears come in
Paste.
pairs.
Why is it doing that? Let me do Command C. Nope. Yep, all bears come in pairs.
Yeah.
They sit around stumps in the ground like petals on a flower. How many bears are out today? There we go. And right now, like I said, there are 2 4s right side up.
Well, I mean, this riddle doesn't say anything about bears. It's talking about owl bears. So we don't have enough information.
It's a good point. We don't, technically. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm thinking out loud.
What are people sitting on in this room?
I mean, did anybody sit at the table? I left it up to you guys.
No, I don't think I did, but I'm looking around the table. What are the chairs?
Oh,
Like?
they're just like wooden chairs around a stone table. They're nothing fancy. Yeah.
Come in pairs. They sit around stumps of the ground.
If it's dealing with dice, I think it's 5. Because you would have on the 5 side of the die, it's the kind with dots, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have the owl bears that come in pairs that sit around a stump. In the ground, like petals on a flower, the ground would be the next 2 dots. So it's either 5 or 10 if it's both the die, I think. I'm getting the visual.
Do you want to guess?
Hannah will guess that it's 10.
Just so we are on the same page, when I say they are 2 dice that are 4s on the top, like 4 dots per one.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure we were on the same page.
Yeah, it's Tana's gonna turn it to 2 5s.
Oh, turn it to 2 5s.
Yeah.
Oh. She looks at you and she goes, "That's cheating."
How?
And she goes, I just need to know. And she puts it back to the ones with the 2 4s on the top. How many bears are out on this particular day? That's a different day. And she kind of like, she kind of taps your shoulder.
How is that a different day? Okay.
She picks the dice up and she rolls like a 2 and a 6. This is a different day. And then she rolls like a 3 and a 5. This is also a different day. On this particular day, with 2 4s, how many bears are out?
Well, they come in pairs. They sit around stumps.
The little girl will come up to you, Soaring, kind of like whispering in your ear.
She does this to a lot of people. Like, this isn't just necessarily like the curse talking. She just really likes riddles.
I mean, I do too. I'm all for like certain kinds of riddles. This though, I don't really like the idea of being put on the spot. I'm just, and also owl bears and bears are 2 different creatures. I mean, come on. I know I cannot be the only one who knows their nature around here.
Plus
very,
1.
Soaring's stuck on the pedantic of bears and owl bears are different creatures and
7.
cannot move past that, as I'm struggling personally to figure out exactly what my answer is going to be.
You see, she whispers in your ear again.
There are no bears out on this day.
And she'll walk back over to her chair and sit down.
Because there's nothing in the ground in the middle, so there's none.
Because there
like
are no.
Say that out loud too, like after her.
Because there are no. Because owl bears, there's just no correlation.
There's just no.
So there are no bears out today?
Right. And she'll go ahead and roll the dice again. It is 2 1s.
There are still no bears out today?
Also correct. And you see she rolls it for a 3rd time.
Yeah.
And there are still no bears out today.
There's a 2 and a 5.
A 2 and a 5. Oh,
Or
there's one bear out today?
Which of you guessed first?
I mean, I'm pissed
Hugo.
off. I'm not really like paying attention, so would be like in the back, just like this, as all the cool kids are actually trying to figure it out.
Trouble is in the back, like trying to figure out, man, should I just drink this mind reading potion and just get this over with? Like, what is going on here? Because I'm confused.
One bear?
This old lady has a bear thing, which I totally get. You know, I've met a couple druids who could do that, but it don't work. He needs to find a new hobby.
Like moisturizing. That would be a great hobby.
Yes, it puts the lotion on the skin.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, she looks at Adara and goes, "No, unfortunately, it's not one."
Is
And
there
then
still no bears?
she looks at Soaring. She goes, "4 is correct."
I don't like you. No offense. I mean, full offense, no offense. But I just don't like this. This is why. Are you that bored? There's a lot of work around here to do.
Oh, I mean, if you're not smart enough for this, just say that.
And she just kind of like laughs to herself.
Well, it's hard to tell if we don't know what's going on, we may or may not be properly equipped. And I also am not I know I'm not smart enough, but that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not I'm able to do this.
Everyone's smart in different ways. You just
Exactly.
happen to be good at getting this answer. You did good.
Soaring, she offers you a muffin.
Oh.
I'm just gonna go back to the back of the room, not talking anymore.
Oh no! She quietly puts the muffin back in the basket. She rolls the dice one more time. It is a 1 and a 4. And she goes,
Okay. Now, how many fish are there?
Wait, what?
How many fish are there?
Listen, you need to go to a doctor of some sort. Oh my god, like you need to go to the doctor because of this, but you need to go to a head doctor. Like, are you okay? Do you know what date it is? Do you know your full name? Do you know where you are?
Oh, I mean, I know all of those things. I find fun in brain teasers.
Okay, I just there's a real problem that's going on here, and you're literally getting in our way and wasting our time.
Right, and I know where the book is, and I just think it would be fun if you at least tried.
There's
If
no
you want
fish.
to give up, I understand.
I don't think there's any fish.
"There's no fish." She looks at you.
Don't do the mind reading because your mind might melt from the nonsense.
Tana, she looks at you and she goes,
Do you want to explain, or would you like a gift?
I'll take a gift.
Okay.
Let's see here. Tana, she will hand you, I've got a table of things. She's a Kenku, so she's a collector.
Mhm.
She hands you a red gem out of her pocket.
Oh.
And she holds it out for you to put out your hand. And she places it in your palm.
Now, I would be careful with this one. It
Uh-huh.
really packs a punch. Maybe at a place like this, I would not.
And she kind of looks around at how close together all of the walls are and the fact that the hatch is locked above you guys.
Oh, okay. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Does it bother you that you look different from others like you?
Oh, I mean, hardly anybody sees me down here. It could certainly be worse. I mean, I'm a great cook.
And she holds up her basket of muffins.
Can I give you something too?
I am a big fan of advice. If you have anything valuable on your person, I suggest you keep it.
It's not valuable, I promise.
Then she'll nod.
Tana will take out her book and pull out a piece of paper from her wizarding journal. And would you mind taking your head down again for me, please?
She does so.
And she will take out some charcoal and she will sketch Crinkle with a fully formed beak as Tana thinks it would be on her and give it to her. Just because you don't look like that anymore doesn't mean you're not special or beautiful in any way. I want you to know that. Okay?
Okay. As a DM, I will tell chat the style of this campaign is for me to give a level to you guys. After every session, you guys can be level 6 next week instead of level 5. We'll skip one. I think that's better than anything I could give you for that. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room for levels, so we'll go ahead and do that. Awesome. Great. Cool. That really caught me off guard, buddy. Wow. Okay. Great.
Yeah. That's one of the good things. Like, thank you on behalf of the rest of the group. Thank you very much, Tana, for being like considerate and being a nice character, as the rest of us are like maybe not
Petty gang.
various degrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you, Tana.
The reason for Tana's kindness will come out later in the roleplay. Don't worry.
I love that.
Oh.
Great.
Oh.
Tana, as this is all happening, you notice out of the corner of your eye that Evder at the end of the table has come back to. His scream did not put him out as much as everybody thought it did. And he is eating a muffin at the end of the table. He's just fine. But his daughter has made her way over to the other side of the table and walked around. Are you sitting, Trouble?
No, I'm standing.
Okay. She's gonna reach for your hand and gesture over to where she came from her bedroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's. I guess let's go. What's up? What's happening over there?
Anybody else who wants to go with them? Crinkle has gotten up from her seat, and she has made the announcement.
I think I'm gonna go get that book.
And she gets up and she leaves the table. So anybody who wants to follow the young girl, she introduces herself as Gilby. I just think, and she looks up at you, Trouble. I just really think that you seem fun, and I feel like somebody fun needs to see this. And she kind of looks guilty for taking you to her bedroom. But you can tell as you open the door that a child sleeps in here. There are toys scattered on an unmade bed, typical kid stuff. They don't make their beds. Piles of clothes, all obscure, but for a few bare patches on the floorboards, there are clothes everywhere. Above a writing desk in the corner dangles a dragon marionette made from brass and wood, a puppet, with wings of canvas that are dyed red. It is very pretty. And a round firefly lamp hangs in the opposite corner. You guys have already noticed fireflies are the way to keep everything lit up down here. And you see she takes a book out from under her bed. Trouble. And Galeby hands it to you. Do you open it?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna open it.
Okay. And you see at the top of the page, she has written Shemshime's bedtime rhyme with the lyrics that I gave to you all. The lyrics are done in loud, colored paint and in a style that's typical of a child, very abstract, but it's very unsettling. One of the images shows a man whose feet have been severed. There's blood everywhere, depicted by red paint. Another shows a boy underwater, gasping at his throat. And the last one shows a dog with a hand in its mouth. Fresh. A black cloud hovers over each scene. And you can tell her fingertips are stained red from the red paint.
So, as I'm looking at this, I'm going to kind of hide my absolute horror at all of these images and the fact that she's written down all of the lyrics to this crazy song and be like, so I see that you've also heard the song. When you hear it, do you see these things as well?
Yeah, I see them all the time. It's like the song doesn't go away. How long have you had it?
Only for a little bit. How long have you had it?
She kind of looks to the floor, shuffling her feet and moving some of the clothes around her ankles around a bit.
It's been a while. My dad's not doing so great.
And so do all of you hear this
We
song?
all hear it. Yeah, I'm the only one who draws.
And she looks really uncomfortable for a second, and she grabs your hand like she did when she was leading you into her bedroom.
Is there something wrong with me?
I mean, there a little bit, there's a little bit, there's a little bit something wrong with all of us. So, I we're gonna we go. I'm just gonna start patting her hand like a comforting way and be like, "Don't worry, we're gonna we're gonna try to fix this, okay? I'm sorry to hear that your father's not doing well, but we're gonna try to fix it. Don't worry. But it's been happening for a while now. Okay, wow. Has anybody else seen these images?
I mean, everybody hears the same words, so I didn't really think it was necessary, but the fact that you guys were willing to come down here to help, I don't know. I thought that you might be more honest with me than my dad has been.
Yes. Well, seeing as how what Crinkle said, things are, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, they're a little bit bad. And depending on what she said, they're gonna get worse. But we are thankfully here to try to help solve this problem. So, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna leave the the air of it. So we'll try to fix it. We'll try to help. But yeah.
Okay.
She looks up at you. She goes,
I also have another problem.
she looks around the group. And she looks at you, P. And she goes,
You look like you have a creative vision.
I mean, I certainly try.
and she reaches out for your hand. Do you take it?
I take it without hesitation.
Okay. She takes you not next door to which you can probably tell this is her dad's room. That there is a picture of them right on the front door. But the next room over, you guys walk in. Is anybody else going with you with those two? Okay. This small room is completely awash. If you felt suffocated by fireflies before, this room is filled with them. None of them fly out when the door is opened. They are very content in here, but there are thousands of them. It is just from floor to ceiling fireflies. The luminescent insects flit around more than a dozen glass terrariums that are all open. These are free range. The walls are covered with these shelving units, and a steady plinking noise results from the ones that are inside of the glass containers from them kind of bonking off of them. And there are shallow wooden boxes that are packed on the lowest shelves. Does anybody want to give me like a perception check when you first walk in here? Do you want to do it, P?
Yes, please. Ta-da.
I'd like to as well. I'm
Okay.
suspicious.
Okay, that is a 22.
22. All right. What'd you get, Soaring?
I got a 9.
A 9. Okay. Soaring, I will tell you what you notice is on all of these boxes, there is a brand that is the shape of a crow's head. So you get the feeling these are crinkles. P, I'll tell you this. Just taking that a step further, Crinkle is solely responsible for like caring and raising for these fireflies. These people have been down here long enough that they realized they needed a more sustainable way to keep it lit down here without depleting their quality of life at all, and Crinkle found it. This is essentially like a firefly farm.
Do the fireflies look happy?
They are bonking all over the place. They look thrilled to be here, honestly. They're the bumblebees of fireflies, just small and flying and happy. They're having
That's
a great
so
time. But the mood shifts for a second here, P. So as you guys walk into this room, immediately, this small child looks up at you, and Galby pulls out the red paint that she was using to paint with, and she hands it to you. And she goes,
I've been like wondering about this for a while. I can't read, but I feel like it doesn't say anything good. The words that were in my journal, I just wrote those because my brain told me to. But I kind of need help with this, and I'm kind of afraid to show my dad. Because what if it's something about me? You know?
And can give me like, do you want to take the brush and stuff that she's giving you with the red paint?
Yes.
Okay. On the floor, she is pointing to like 3 feet by 4 inches, like a long strip, like one of the planks in the floorboards. that she's pointing to, and it does look like something is like etched into it, but you can't make it out because it's so dark in here. So you get the feeling with that high of a perception check that she wants you to like paint onto the floorboards to make a word appear.
Okay. Then I think I would ask her, so you want me to paint there? You want me to see, right? You want to show me?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. So P does it.
Okay. You guys see as P swipes this brush against the wooden floor, 3 words appear. Finish the rhyme. And I think that's a good place to end our session. So I'm going to say this. Thank you so much, chat, for sticking around. This is a heck of a mystery, I'll tell you that. You guys have been covered quite a bit so far. Great job. And I just want to tell everybody I appreciate you being here. This is a heck of a good start to a campaign. I'm very lucky to have you all, and we're going to go ahead and raid Foos, who is another one of our creators here. They are live on their channel, so Foozka is the name. If anybody wants to stick around to support one of our creators on the raid, we would very much appreciate it. So I wish I was more prepared with a closing. I am just... Oh, okay. If everybody wants to just do like a closing with, you know, what you do, what your name is, where people can find you before we leave, that'd be nice. Do you want to do that first, Beth?
Sure. My name is Beth. Pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Twitter at Elzapook. I'm not super active on there just yet, but this crew is definitely going to inspire me to do so. And I am playing P, any all pronouns, the Centaur Peace Cleric.
Great. All right, Theta.
Hi, I'm Theta. You can find me online at Jobu_Tapaki on Twitter and Itch, where I make games and I also just play games. I'm going to be other things coming up eventually. And I was playing Adara, an abjuration wizard who's just scared, I think.
Hey, at least they're honest. Hype Goblin, you want to go ahead next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody, I'm the Hype Goblin. I have been Tana Graceland Glimpspark. You can find me all over the internet as the Hype Goblin. I do a lot of TTRPG stuff, including actual plays, help content, cosplaying. I'm all over the TikToks. You can find me doing a whole bunch of stuff that's very, very nerdy under the name Hype Goblin.
Good deal. Baba Yaga?
Yep, I'm Baba Yaga. You can find me on Twitter at ShutUpSarah. It has been my pleasure to be Soren Snack Hedone tonight. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Wonderful. Last but not least, JJ, do you want to introduce yourself with what you do this time? Because we missed it in the beginning. I'm so sorry, buddy.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm JJ, your friendly neighborhood TTRPG chef. Woo! And you can find me on Twitter at JJ_Cray. And thank you so much for inviting me to play on this game. I'm having a great time with my lovely cast and our wonderful dungeon mistress. And this is amazing. So thank you and support all these wonderful people. Woo!
Good. And yeah, I am Dungeon Mistress, Dungeon Mother of Cats, Mo. And you can find me at Mother O Cats with a Z on Twitter. I've been pretty good about it lately, posting things. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and raid Fuzka. So thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.